Hello students, it's Professor Dr. Mink. This is a short video tutorial that'll help you to get started when creating your first C++ program using Visual Studio Community Version. I've already launched Visual Studio. There's a separate video on how to get that installed and which packages to include. It's in the Canvas timeline. So let's create a new project. I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to come up here and select from the languages that you can create programs with or for with Visual Studio. I'm going to select C++. And we're going to create a console application. Next, and I'm going to just call this my first program 121. And I'm going to select this box here to place the solution in the project in the same directory. That'll put your source code file and the solution file, which I'll describe in greater depth later, into the same folder. Great. Oh, I already have one named that. So let's just say my first program 2022. So now we have a source code file named my first program 2022 inside a C++ console project with the same name. Now I want to stress that when you create a project in Visual Studio, it's not a single file. It may seem that way because the file we're going to spend 99% of our time in is the source code file. But it actually creates a series of folders and files that include libraries, class libraries, headers, other resource files, etc., that we're not going to be all that concerned with in this introductory course. But when you create a console application, it automatically creates the source code file and opens it in the desktop editor, which is right here. And first of all, you'll see quite a few lines that start with 2 forward slashes. Anything that follows a forward slash, and there's some color coding here, anything that follows 2 forward slashes is a comment, and it is ignored by the compiler. So in other words, I could put programmer William Mink. That's a comment. And then as we move forward, you'll put a date. You could put project number 1, whatever. So up here, you'll see this is our first actual statement. This is an include directive, and it includes the IOStream library. And the syntax is #include, which is a keyword, and then within the less than and greater than sign, I've always called those the carets, but for whatever reason, my C++ instructor who taught me C++ back in, wait for it, 1992 and 93. Yeah, I've been around a long time. Called those carets, but the IOStream library. So I could also put a comment in the line. This includes the IO library. It's a class library. Excuse me. It's a class library that has all the IOStream objects. And I don't want to overwhelm you with terminology that will be described in greater detail later in this class. So just that's going to be there. Here is our main function. It's declared to return an int, which is an integer. Its name is main, and it has the parentheses here. So the scope of main is within the open and closed braces. This is the simplest program you'll ever see. std : I'm going to take care of that in a second. That specifies the standard namespace. Cout is our first programming keyword. Cout is an object, excuse me, that sends output to the monitor. This is the insertion operator followed by a string. A string is a series of characters that is encased in open and closed quotes. So, and then the end of each statement within the main function is ended with a semicolon. So this is a complete statement because it ends in a semicolon. Now, to make things easier for you, because we're not going to program using multiple namespaces, and I don't want you to even think about that for more than a second. We're going to come up here in our startup statements and put a new using namespace standard. This specifies the standard namespace for all functions in this project. What that does, it enables us, or it doesn't require us to put standard : in front of each statement. So I'm going to come up here, save all. I'm going to go to local Windows debugger. This is how you debug and run your program in a safe environment. Here we go. Here's our output screen, our console. Hello world, exclamation point. And then it tells you that it ran this program. Here's where it ran it, the path. Exit it with code 0. And to automatically close the console when debugging stops, you press any key. And there you go. I pressed the space bar. So let's come over to this part of the screen, Solution Explorer over here. This is important in accessing the folders and files in this project. And once again, please do not get overwhelmed with the complexity of this project, especially at this point in the class. I'm going to make this easy for everyone. So here is the file that's currently open. It's called our source code file, and it always has a .cpp extension. So I named it my first program 2022.cpp. If for some reason the Solution Explorer is missing from your desktop, you just go to View, Solution Explorer, and it'll reappear. There's some other windows here, your output window, properties. We're going to get to that later in the class. So how do I get to this program, this source code file? Well, let's come up here and let's right-click your mouse. And let's open the folder in File Explorer. Now, here's where it places all of your programs in a folder called Repos under Source and under, this is the name of my of my drive. So here is your CPP file. This is your source code file. Watch, I could right-click this and I can open it with WordPad. There it is in WordPad. You could actually write your program in WordPad. It would be difficult because you wouldn't have any of the IntelliSense error checking, but there it is. And in order to restart this program, I would double click on this Visual Studio solution. That will start the entire project again. So, for example, if I were to close the solution, okay, I could get back to it by open a project or solution. You'll notice it appears in my most recent folders. I could also go back to here and double click on the .sln, and it will ask which, I have multiple versions of Visual Studio, which version you want to open it with. And then it will open in Visual Studio. So I want you to review all the other material in the timeline, the Canvas timeline, and you're going to write a program, and you're going to just take a screen print and send it to me, just so I can see that you've downloaded Visual Studio Community, and that you've written your first program and you know how to get through all of this. Okay? Thanks for watching. Have a great day.